I'm just gonna.
Hey! Ho! Hey! Ho! Oh, man. I love getting to do that because Kevin never lets me do that. But thank you for coming to Black Men on Beyond. Did I just fuck that up?
Yeah, a little bit.
I fucked up my
Your
Black
own
Men
show.
on Beyond. I
Your
fucked
own
up
show,
my own
you
show.
screwed it up.
How's everybody doing tonight? Yeah? Everybody all right? Have you guys met Todd Stashwick?
Hi, everyone.
He
Hi,
is my
everyone.
co-host tonight.
Ta-da.
Ta-da! How you doing, Todd?
I'm good. I'm just gonna have a seat. I thought there'd be stools.
No. This is
No, it's like waiting tables. It's like bartending. I'm having flashbacks to New York.
No, today's leg day.
Yeah,
So we're gonna stand here
Yeah.
for like 2 hours.
that's fair.
I know. What have you been up to, man?
Working on a thing can't talk about right now.
Excellent. So am I.
Yeah. Writing on a thing I can't talk about right now.
Similar.
So is he.
All right, so we should do a movie together, like
done.
twins. Just
I
shit
love
we
that.
can't talk about.
Right.
Where might the people have seen you before? In case they're wondering why there's a different white guy standing next to me.
Right.
Explain where you came from.
Where did I come from? Oh, well, Chicago, Illinois.
All right. Very nice.
I'm a Second City boy. Ironically, I started my career thinking I was going to do sketch comedy and Saturday Night Live and half-hour sitcoms, and I end up just murdering people a lot on television. I die a lot. I wind up with lead in me or in cuffs. But shows-wise, most recently, I did a stint on a show called 12 Monkeys. Yeah, where I portrayed. At first, he was a nefarious warlord, and then he became all squishy teddy bear hero by the end of season. Oh, spoilers! Yeah, it's now available. All 4 seasons on Hulu. Some may know me as Black Mask on Gotham. Yeah. I've done a lot of the nerd shows, the Buffys, the Angels, the Star Treks, the Supernatural. I played Dracula in a black and white episode of Supernatural that people still, every Halloween, oddly.
Really?
That episode circles back around every Halloween.
Oh, I thought you meant you had like black and white face Draculas coming up to your
Yes, it
door
is.
trick or
Do you
treating.
know how hard it is to act in black and white?
I can imagine.
Yeah, it's not a trick
long
of the
time in
camera.
makeup.
It's a lot of, well, it's theater school.
Yeah,
Really.
you and Frank Gorshin are
Yes.
the only ones who figured out how to
Right,
act.
we figured it out. But yeah, so I've done a lot of the nerd shows, which is a heck of a lot of fun because I am one of that. That is what I consume a lot of. Yeah.
What was your entry vector for nerddom? Like, what was the first thing you thought you were a nerd for?
The first nerd show that I did was
that you loved.
that I loved as
As a fan.
I'm not a young person, so I would say. It wasn't a TV show, so I was 8 years old in 1977 seeing Star Wars as a child. I was in the theater on the day. So that kind of lit the fuse. Mm-hmm. But I had Planet of the Apes action figures and Star Trek action figures and also the 66 Adam West Batman.
Okay.
Was a big deal to me. Because I didn't realize it was a comedy at the time. I thought
Neither did Adam West.
Neither did Adam West. Which is probably why it worked.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, if he for a minute looked as if he was in on the joke, that show doesn't work at all.
No, it falls apart.
He's got to be the straight man.
Sugar in the Rain. Yeah, you have to. Yeah, and Burt Ward as well. Like he's the unsung hero of that show too.
Even though he was playing a hero that we sung a lot about.
Oh, they did sing a lot about. I only sing that many bars of the theme song, or else we have to pay royalties.
Excellent. Not here, though.
No.
Everything's free. It's Scum and Villainy.
Well, yeah.
It's a wretched hive of things,
We
including
just-
people
we
who don't
take
pay
what
their
we
bills.
want, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were off shooting something this week?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. Well, I did just come back from Boston, where I was doing a romantic comedy.
Did you
Dennis
kill people in
Dugan.
it?
I didn't, but I was playing, like, of all things, of course, I finally booked, like, a rom-com, and I'm still playing, like, a Russian mobster
Excellent.
in it. So, yeah, it's like, I'm not, like, the guy, like, running to the church with flowers so that she doesn't marry the wrong guy. I'm never that guy. I'd be the guy running to the church with the machine gun going, stop, I kill everybody in the room.
What if they're running to the church to stop them from marrying the wrong Russian mobster?
That would be, I'm going to write that movie.
See? You should do that.
I'm writing
just
that
for
movie.
you. I went to the gym which, if you know me at all, is a thing that never happens. In fact, hasn't happened.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Didn't go that well.
Oh, wait, I think I saw this story.
Yeah, no, just a little bit.
Yeah.
So I
was
decided.
newsworthy.
Yeah, like I went to the doctor like 6 months ago, and he's like, "Hey, so you're not young." True. Thank you for saying so. I know. I feel eternally youthful. No. And he's like, "Yeah, and you might have the diabetes." And I said, "Oh shit, might." It was like you're pre-diabetic.
Like the coin? Oh.
Like you're trending towards diabetes.
You're training for diabetes.
Right. You're putting in the work, buddy.
Yes, you're doing great. You're killing it.
Yeah, you're eating all the sugar.
Yeah, nicely done.
Just,
Yeah.
by the fistful.
By December, full diabetes.
Yeah, you know, which wasn't looking for that, but, sometimes
Merry Christmas.
you get the sugary brass ring. So he's like, you need to start taking better care of yourself. I'm like, oh, yeah, I probably should, especially since Kev, who usually stands where you stand, has lost like 100 pounds and has turned full vegan. He's got his vegan powers activated, like he's doing all that shit. And I'm like, are there more cheeseburgers? Which feels weird given that I'm an old man. So I had started dieting and, whatever. It sucks, but it is what it is. Yep. And then I was like, well, I got to add some physical fitness to this shit. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I'm joining a gym. Like, I'm gainfully employed. Mm-hmm. I have money in my pocket.
Done.
Dear Mr. Bally, does Bally's still do gyms anymore?
Okay.
That is how long it's been since I've been to a gym.
My wife still calls the machines Nautilus.
Nice. I'm like, is Jack LaLanne here?
Yeah.
Is he going to help me work out?
Suzanne Summers, Jazzercise.
Yeah. So I go into 24-hour fitness and I'm like, hey, so I haven't been in a gym since the Clinton administration.
Oh my God.
So we got to start slow. And this lady was like, fuck that, let's go. And we hit it hard, so hard that when I left the 45 minutes of what seemed like pentathlon training, I go and I'm like, I'm feeling a little woozy. I should buy myself like an energy drink or like a Gatorade or something to get my electrolytes up, which people tell me I need. Never heard it before, but fine. And I'm standing at the counter to buy an electrolyte drink, and the next thing I know, I'm lying face up, on my back, staring at the ceiling with 4 trainers standing around me, asking me if I knew what month it was. Oh. Yeah.
Why is it trivia night?
Totally. And it's like, why do I feel so comfortable? I wasn't that comfortable before. No. And they're like,
this working out is great.
It's like, is this all it takes?
This is so easy.
I just get to nap it off? Boom. They should have told me there was a nap plan.
I feel fine.
Great. So they're like, yeah, no, you passed out. Like for real though? Yeah, you were standing here and then you just crumpled. And we think you hit your head on the tile floor. So we're going to take it easy. Do you know what month it is? And I thought it was October, and I was right.
Good.
I mean,
well, it's 1 out of 12. You're gonna
pretty much.
It's not. The odds are pretty darn good.
At the very least, I said a month, and not giraffe.
Yes, it's yes.
So I'm
laughing at your misfortune.
No, it was great. And then I had to call my wife, who that's the last call you want to get is, hey, so I worked out once and the ambulance is here. You should maybe come and drive me home from either this place or the emergency room. And she's like, I'd rather not the emergency room. I was like, me neither. And so they did the fucking EKG and they pricked my finger and they did the blood test and everything. And they're like, no, you just your blood sugar is low and your blood pressure is low and maybe you exerted yourself too much. I'm like, yeah.
Maybe.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I think she thought.
Unless this is how every one of her workouts ends.
Yeah, it's either that or I turn into a superhero. She thought I might be Batman.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no,
you were in metamorphosis stage.
Yes, I'm in peak physical condition. I'm the average of an Olympic athlete underneath.
Sure.
All of these
you gotta peel it
pounds.
You got to peel it away.
Yeah. So, but I went back.
What?
I did. After that, garbage day where I,
you know why we fall down?
So that trainers can ask you what month it is?
I was pulling it back to the bat.
I know.
Come on.
I know. So we can get back up again and get back on the rack where they stretch you in ways you're not supposed to stretch.
No, I work out at this lovely place called Hero's Journey Fitness. Yeah. And they which is sort of apropos, they do nerd themed workouts, Christy Black and David Nett. And so and they also destroy you. It's like, it's a cute little thing. Like, it's called Walk into Mordor. And you're like, no, it's an hour of squats. And like, oh, walk into Mordor.
Well, because one doesn't simply walk.
No,
into
someone does
Mordor.
simply walk into Mordor.
After squats for an hour, you simply can't walk.
Yeah, no, you cannot. You cannot. It is a Mount Doom.
Yeah.
But so I don't know who your trainer was, and we might not want to out her.
There's an APB out for her now.
I'm gonna say.
I'm just saying.
She actually wasn't working there.
No,
she
no,
just
no.
slides in and tortures humans.
And then she started doing like the weird Joker dance at the end, like whoa. But I did go back. I've been back 4 times.
You did what?
I've been back 4 times
What?
since this.
Congratulations.
All of this hurts.
Yeah.
All the time.
That means you're doing it right.
Yeah, no. Because at some point I want to be an actor, and I hear you have to do that shit like every day.
It's all maintenance. It's all maintenance. There's no love of the game.
Just trying
That's
not
why
to
I said
die.
I have to like. It's kind of like as a kid where that your mom wants you to eat broccoli, so she coats it in Cheese Whiz. That's what Hero's Journey is for me. It's like I get tricked into like, oh, you're playing John Williams music. All right, I'll do push-ups to that. And so it coats it in a nerdy wrapper, so I have a good time while I'm miserable. Yeah.
Yes, I am not. So maybe I should think about that.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's a great place.
No, I'm sure it's fun.
Come on, it is.
Whatever. Like I have friends who are like, no, man, if I don't work out in the morning, I feel like shit all day. I'm like, what?
No. I had to do like kettlebell deadlifts today, and I like 3:00. I am just asleep. Like it's like, oh, my body goes to stop everything. I could be typing and the head would be hitting the keyboard. Like you need to stop and rebuild.
Well, yeah, no, I'm a mess. But you know what I did to sort of reverse the trend of working out?
Whiskey?
No, I watched a lot of television and movies.
Oh, segue.
Pretty much. I went from like, I'm going to work out a lot and do shit that's active to, I'm going to sit here on this fucking couch.
But you've earned it.
And watch this Apple TV shit, see what they got for me.
But it feels better knowing that you've put the work in. That's why I like working out at like 7:00 in the morning, so that anything after that is just my time. I have no problems playing video game.
I figured I'd gone 47 years without ever having to have something to get to my time, just it having been my time.
Truth. 47. I remember it like it was 4 years ago.
Oh, 47. I feel so not
It's
young.
so cute. Look at you.
I know. Look at that. I got like wrinkles on my elbows.
Youngster. Yep.
I got spring fucking chicken who's been out in the sun for 47 years. I did see some shit this weekend, though.
You did.
I
So
did.
I.
Did you watch any of the Apple TV offerings? Did anybody else watch anything on Apple TV, which was like free for a week and then they're going to take your kidney?
No, we watched Watchmen, so not Apple TV.
Are you caught up on the Watchmen?
We are caught up on the Watchmen.
I am here for the Space Dildo Show.
Oh my God! Right? Right? It looked like a spaceship from like a Mel Brooks movie.
Yeah, like first it's like, oh, I've just got this bong here, right?
Nope.
And then it's like, oh, it's got another piece.
But she also considered it,
Yeah, it's like, I gotta.
and then she went.
Yeah, it's like I could do this thing,
Yeah.
which feels difficult, or I can knock on the little, like, judge. Everybody watched? Everybody caught up on Watchmen before we spoil too much? All right, good. A little, not so much over here.
Spoiler. Okay. Well.
All right, we're not going to spoil much.
Yeah, we didn't
I'm
spoil
just going to
much.
say that I am still
But
in
this
love
whole
with
show
the
is filled with spoilers.
We could be
You
gentle.
might be at the wrong place because we're going to be talking about movies.
We can be gentle.
We'll be gentle.
as Lori Blake is gentle.
Unlike that.
the giant
not have
space
been gentle.
dildo.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, man, it's not ribbed
You'd
for
have
her
to call
pleasure.
a doctor. Manhattan. What? Too soon? No.
No, that was good.
Okay. Thanks.
I'll give you that one.
Thanks.
I am still in love with Watchmen, and I'm in love with it all the more so because even in episode 3, it's decided that it's not going to be the show we thought it was going to be.
Oh.
Where suddenly you're just dropping anchor in a character we haven't seen before yet, Lori Blake. Which, if you know anything about Watchmen, she was Silk Spectre 2. From the movie. Who in that one was like young and somewhat Nordic, and now it's
Yes. and
Jean
now she's
Smart, which is amazing.
Yeah.
as a vigilante hunter.
Who, by the way, my wife and I went to go see Bill Irwin perform when he was here. And we're finishing up Legion right now. And as we sit down, right? It's like Legion's like if David Lynch and Kubrick said, "Hey, let's do a superhero show." And we sit down to watch it, and we are massive Legion fans. And Dan Stevens and Gene Smart sit down behind us, and I just fanboyed. I just turned around and was like, "We love you, show. We love it so much." And then Dan, he's like, "Well, then you got to watch Watchmen because Gene's in that." I'm like, "She gets to go from Marvel to DC."
When you're a designing woman, you can do whatever
You
the
can do
fuck
whatever
you
you
want.
want.
Whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
Nobody puts a designing woman in the corner.
She's gonna do an IDW show next. She's gonna do Lock and Key. She's just gonna do whatever she wants.
She ought to get Meshach Taylor some work.
Yeah.
Just saying. Right?
Yep.
So yeah, I'm still loving Watchmen, every fucking stitch of it.
So good.
So good. I watched For All Mankind. Have you seen the For All
Nope.
Mankind yet? Do you know what it's about?
Nope.
For All Mankind is Apple TV's one of their big shiny debut shows, created by Ronald D. Moore of the Battlestar Galactica fame.
I'm a fan.
It's the basic idea is, what if the Russians beat us to the moon? What if in 1968 we're all gathered around TV, or 69, whatever the fuck it was, I don't know, history, and we're all gathered around the TV to
You guys,
watch.
he passed out.
I did, literally, like 3 weeks ago.
We may have to remember that. And be
I
gentle.
don't know what month it is. Clearly,
What's history?
history? What is
I
legacy?
derailed. We're
Planting
back.
seeds in a garden you'll never see.
Nice.
I'm ripping off Hamilton. I can
Yeah,
do
you
that all
are.
day.
Yeah, you are.
No. So yeah, it's what happens to the national psyche if we don't go to the moon first.
Wow.
What happens to NASA? What happens to the space race? What happens to how we view ourselves? What happens to our, at least what was in the 70s and 80s and even early 90s, obsession with the future and space and exploration and going there? What happens if all of that gets stripped away? What
So it's
happens?
good.
It's pretty great.
Okay.
It's pretty great. And
So
it's,
can you tell which ones are the Cylons?
yes, you know how their backs light up.
Backs light up
when they're fucking.
they're getting busy.
Yeah. And there
That's
is
what it
so
is.
much fucking on this show.
Really?
No, it's on
the
Apple.
moon.
man. No, Apple doesn't let nobody do nothing.
Really?
It is a very PG-13ish kind
Like
of
the
thing.
whole network?
The whole network, because their mantra was, we want to be able to put these on in the Apple stores while people are buying Apple shit, and we can't just have like butt naked asses doing shit while you and your kid are trying to buy an iPad.
Wow.
Although that might move some iPads.
I'm saying. I'm saying. I was
Yeah.
pleasantly surprised because I just upgraded to the new iPhone and turned on the Apple TV. It's like, you get a year for free. So I'm like, oh, that's lovely.
That's why they're going to win.
Yeah, they're gonna win.
They're going to win. Like
Yeah, Apple's hurting.
in this whole streaming wars, it's like, oh yeah, Apple that has like $250 trillion, like spare change.
Yeah.
Then they gotta spend it. They get
And now
taxed
they're
on
also
it.
like helping the housing crisis too. So
They have the gross national product of a small country.
They do.
And they don't have to like do any of the shit that a country has to do. They don't have to like pay for police or like infrastructure.
They just have to remove the home button.
Yeah, that's it. Like sell dongles you can plug your fucking headphones back in.
I know, right?
Fuckers. I swear to God. Like all I want is like my iPhone 6 back with like an iTunes that worked and
It
like
got real hot.
And I don't care. Like it keeps me warm in the winter, man.
This is
Like,
a heat signature.
it's okay, it's fine.
I'm sterile from putting it in my front pocket.
I got 2 kids. I don't need
saying,
any
I'm
more.
done. I'm done. No, I'm not
fuck it.
worried.
It's the cheapest vasectomy
Yeah.
you can get, and it roams.
But I have a burn mark on my thigh.
It's an identification mark. Man.
Thank
That's
you.
how they'll know.
But it's their logo. I think they did it on purpose.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Tattoo that shit right on your ass.
Right there. Yep. So anyway,
so
C.
yes,
Did
For
you
All
watch
Mankind. I
For
watched
All Mankind?
C.
You watched C.
It all depends on how much of a dude/Laney boner you have for Jason Momoa. Because there's a lot of him grunting and like covered in fucking mud.
Okay.
And just like, "Hurrah!" and like, I can't see. Everything's dark. And then he does like, you know, the fucking like the Pacific Islander, like the we're doing a lot of fucking haka shit.
Oh.
And I'm like, but
But they're in the Pacific Northwest.
They're in like Vancouver.
Fair enough.
And
where every
and it's like
Vegas show.
900 years in the future.
Okay.
But he remembers that shit and he's the only one that seems to be.
He keeps it alive.
He keeps it alive.
That's his job.
He's
He's the bearer of the truth.
He's the haka keeper.
He's the hockey keeper. Yeah.
Not the trapper keeper. That's
No, I
another
was just
dude.
gonna say you were bringing me back.
But it is one of the most expensive shows that I've seen. That also looks a lot like the 100.
Yeah. And like Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yes, which is better. Like if you guys haven't played Horizon Zero Dawn, it is the best
That's the
video
thing.
game.
Like, why didn't Apple just make that show?
They shoulda.
Right.
We should call Apple.
Hang on. If I only had a device.
Yeah, no. Tim Apple?
Yeah. Yeah. Hello.
Hello?
I'd like to speak to the head Apple, please.
Mr. Macintosh here.
And I just picture it's like McDonald's. Like he actually has.
He's a
he
giant
had
apple.
a big desk. He's got a tie, but he's got a big apple head. Hello.
Do you want to speak to the Golden Delicious? I'm imagining that every executive has some like code name Apple name.
Yes, I'm the Honey Crisp. Yes.
She's cute. The Honey Crisp. So yeah, listen. If you have Apple TV for free, by all means, watch C.
I'm interested in the Jennifer Aniston. It looks sort of Sorkin-esque.
In the Matt Lauer show.
That's the one. it looks Sorkinian. Sorkinian.
Sorkinish.
Sorkinish. I like Sorkinian.
I like that too.
Yeah.
We'll run with that.
Done.
I too am a fan of all things Sorkinian. I am not sure I will tune in for the morning show. Okay. I'll give it a go because again, it was
It's free.
That's how they get you. Don't
Yep.
cost nothing.
Nope.
If I had to pay a single red cent for any of this, I'm not sure I would.
Right.
Except for All Mankind. But free?
Yeah.
Free is the best price.
Good price.
I will take it.
I have that on me right now.
You know?
I carry free with me.
I'll give you
at
some
all
free
times.
if you need it.
Yeah, I got it.
I got all the free you need. Hell yeah. I watched the first 2 episodes of Castle Rock Season 2.
Okay.
Which I knew nothing about.
Invested in.
I'm invested in because I spilled some blood in that particular mud the first season.
yes.
So I know the people. I like the world. I had nothing to do whatsoever
With the season.
with season 2, so it's all a surprise for me.
Okay.
I knew they were doing Annie Wilkes. That much I knew.
And that's Lizzie Kaplan,
Lizzie Kaplan is playing.
whom I did a pilot with. I want to say 17 years ago with Jared Padalecki, a 17-year-old Jared Padalecki, and a very young Lizzie Kaplan as well.
Wow.
But yeah,
You like the-
I hope things work out for both of them.
You know, I hear those kids. They got talent. They got potential.
I'm saying.
All they need is one lucky break.
Yes. And they have a swimming pool filled with like Scrooge McDuck money that they're like,
I quite liked the first couple of Castle Rock season
Okay.
2s.
I've not seen Castle Rock season 1. Shame on me.
That's okay.
No, I know.
No,
But I did watch I watched first episode of that's it.
Carnival Row.
Yeah.
I was like, which one is this? Is that the Prince show? Is that the Bat
Yeah,
Dance
it's
show?
Prince. It's Prince show.
The
Prince
crazy
show.
crazy jazz hand vampire show.
The Prince show. Now I'm thinking like Maya Rudolph.
That would be amazing.
I know. And get
Aw.
Fred Armisen back.
Can we get her to do the Prince show?
Yo, Pink. Do you live the life deluxe? My favorite line of all time. Because it means nothing. Anyway.
So yes,
And we're back.
one. If you're interested in scary shit, you should absolutely watch the Castle Rock season
Okay.
2. If you like the Kathy Bates misery, you should absolutely watch Castle Rock season 2.
Okay.
Lizzie Kaplan is killing it.
I auditioned for that season, but I think Tim Robbins got that part.
He did.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So, yeah, because I had a shot. Come on, it's like they just want to burn my gas. What are you doing today? You want to drive someplace? Sure. We're going to give it to Tim Robbins. All right.
Yeah, but we just want to have one for
Just
safety.
want to see if you're off book.
Just do it for safety.
Yeah.
He's very good.
Like I was the thing that they were dangling over him going, look, you don't take this deal. We got Stashwick in the wings.
We got Stashwick.
And he's like,
stashed in the
oh,
back.
well, I better take it then.
I'm sorry. Let me climb through my Oscars. He's fine. You'd have been better. He's fine.
Oh, come on. I'm a fan.
No,
Bob Roberts.
That's sure. Yeah.
Shawshank.
Fucking Jacob's Ladder. I get
Jacob's
it.
Ladder. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, for kids, right.
Totally.
The wacky circumference.
Sounds like
That's
a
what we're just
prize
referencing.
Yeah.
That's what we said, for kids.
Having sex
My
with
wife
Susan
just
Sarandon.
identified the movie that we already referenced.
Yeah.
I heart you so bad. I heart you so much. Pardon? This is the Player's Handbook, the Trampier Player's Handbook. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. I bleed a lot of nerd blood. Yeah.
Yeah.
Woot, there it is.
I believe
Berserker. You're welcome.
Tattoo Talk with Todd.
Yeah. Oh, it's got 3 T's. So that is a. So I was thinking about starting a podcast, and I was like, do I call it Toddcast?
Ooh.
Do I call it Todd Stashcast? Like, there's so many variations. I put it out to the internet, and I forget what one.
Todd's Talk Time?
Todd's Talk Time. Todd's Talk Time. Yep.
Todd's Tech Talk Time?
Yep.
Sweet.
But anyway,
You
back
did
to what
it,
we were
see?
talking about.
You saw, as did I, un film de Taika Waititi called Jojo Rabbit. Did anybody else
Did you
catch
see
the
it?
JoJo? The JoJo?
Did you see it?
I did see it. I saw it by myself in the theater, like crying.
Yeah, it kicked me in the chest. It's as I said, it's Moonrise Kingdom with Nazis.
Yeah, fair.
It had a lot of like Wes Anderson feel to it.
But see, I
early on.
normally don't like Wes Anderson.
I don't even know who you are.
I don't. Wes Anderson films always feel like artisanal cinema, like the marmalade that you'd buy from like Whole Foods of movies.
Yeah,
But like, I'm a like mac and cheese guy. Like, I don't.
but you're not just mac and cheese.
I'm not just
guy.
mac and cheese, but his movies.
You're filled with mansions.
Ironically, his films remind me a lot of Stanley Kubrick's films, which is that there is a level to which it seems to squeeze out most emotion
Interesting.
in
Yes.
favor of this sterility that's beautiful and
Yes.
gorgeous.
But
And
I also find them very funny and very, very often it's cumulative where there's suddenly the film will just turn on a moment and then they destroy me. There's a great moment in Royal Tenenbaums. By the end of the film, there's this just moment with Ben Stiller and Gene Hackman, and Ben Stiller just goes, "I had a rough year, Dad," and then Gene Hackman just goes, "I know, Chaz." And I'm like, yeah, he did, because he lost his wife and his kids. And the kids are suffering because they don't have a mom. And it's just like, I'm just a mess. But back to Jojo Rabbit.
yes, and so I can absolutely see that comparison because, you know, Taika, as at least in this film, is very careful about the world he's building and the things he's putting in that world and the casting of these characters.
And he himself was channeling Michael Palin. As Hitler.
He's going hard for Hitler.
Oh, so good.
And
And what a line you have to walk. Like, what a goose step. It was, come on, right? I mean, if we're gonna.
it's right there. You couldn't resist.
I know it was low-hanging fruit.
Low hanging swastikas.
So, and then at the end, just not to bring things down too much, but I recently lost my father, and there's the Rilke quote at the end of the film, which is, I'm going to butcher it now, but it's like go through everything, the beauty and the terror, because feelings are always on the move, and that's sort of the process of grieving, because there's a lot of what this boy is going through, and I was just in the movie theater trying not to call all the attention to myself as I'm just like heaving next to my wife, and she's giving me the reassuring shoulder squeeze as support, but I'm like, I can't move because I'm just a puddle. And at the same time, one of the funniest movies I've seen.
It's insanely funny.
In a long time.
And the last shot of the movie is maybe the most joyous thing I've seen in forever. Because it's so simple and it's so gorgeous and it starts to sneak up on you.
Yes. And yet earned.
And totally earned.
Totally earned.
Like everything in this movie is both set up and paid off in ways that are,
if you
are
haven't
subtle
seen this
but wonderful.
It's an uncommon film, not an easy thing to pull off. It is done with such grace and reverence, and at the same time, really irreverent and really funny. And I think Scarlett Johansson's best work to date.
Yeah, she's phenomenal.
The scene when she, I don't want to give too much away, but when she puts the beard on, I'm like, this is a fantastic, and the shape of that scene was just exquisite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's Taika writing a line that's
And
incredibly
elevating
hard to
his
ride.
work, and you know, like I love Thor, and I love What We Do in the Shadows, but he's like jumped a level with this film.
And I did see one other movie. It'll be the last movie we talk about before we
Yes.
get into the news.
Yes.
Terminator Dark Fate.
Saw it.
Anybody else
Yep.
catch Terminator
Yep.
Dark Fate?
Yep.
How did you guys feel about said Terminator film?
We're getting the devil horns over here. We're getting
Lots of
applause.
applause.
We got a thumbs up. We're getting a clapping. Yep.
Got little men's amends over there. I feel like more people were in line with the men's amends than everybody else. I quite liked it.
I did too.
I quite liked
did
it.
too.
It's got some flab to it, and it's got some.
But it's a grilled cheese. Like I know what I'm in for, right? Like it's gonna
Yeah.
be. It's going like I. It really is just kind of a reskinning of the other two, not the other five, but
Yeah.
the other two. You know.
It seems as if there is only really one Terminator movie that was necessary.
Yes.
Which is the first one.
Yes.
The second movie is a remake of the first one with a
Yes.
little bit of a gloss.
Yes. But when Schwarzenegger's like, I'm no longer playing villains.
Yeah,
You make
it's like
me
I'm
hero.
the hero now. I'm not going to shoot anybody. I'm not going to kill anybody. Like I'm
Yeah.
going to give a thumbs up to the dude at the end. Everybody wins.
Yes.
This movie is again a remake of that first movie, which is here's a woman who is apparently crucial to the future of the resistance against some enemy that was born of artificial intelligence, and somebody will come along and save her
Yeah.
from backwards through time. And yeah, like what that story kind of is. You
Yep.
know, to
I
a
mean,
certain
there's a couple of like twists on the theme. Like, oh, okay, well, that was a different way of doing the thing that we expected. But for the most part, it hits all the notes.
it hits all the notes, and they're executed very, very well.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's nothing in this movie that feels like half-assed.
No.
But the question is, do we need more Terminator? And I don't.
I think he answered the question. So we're good, right?
Yeah, I mean,
The Genesis, I did not see it.
I saw half of it.
Well, Linda Hamilton.
Yeah, and there's something wonderful about this movie being about fundamentally these three women.
Yes.
Sort of dealing with their responsibilities to and for and because of the future.
Yes.
And that's kind of lovely. And that level of kind of awareness
Yes.
has always been in the Terminator
Yep.
movies. Like, it's not like it's some brand new thing that they decided, we're going to be like woke Terminator.
No.
Until you remember that,
Wokenator.
Yeah, Wokenator. They're like, the good second movie was like, oh no, it's Linda Hamilton and like kind of a half Latinx kid and a black dude and an Austrian tree saving the world.
Yes.
And the first movie's about
Yes.
this young woman
Yes.
who's saving the world.
Yes.
So it's always been baked into this story, but it's just like, how much of that does one need? And it
Right.
seems as if, at least according to the box office, which made $29 million opening weekend, it cost $180 to make. It will need to limp its way to something like $400 million.
So I'll just see it 800 more times.
Somebody's going to have to. Because it's not going to do that by itself.
No.
And so worldwide, it's a bit of a flop. Domestically, it's a bit of a flop.
Wow. And what do you think that is?
I think some of it is fatigue. I think some of it is it came at the end of a year that was filled with franchise stuff.
Yeah.
I think that despite we brought Arnold back, we brought Linda Hamilton back, that there's an exhaustion for this franchise.
Perhaps.
And maybe there'd been 3 or 4 too many of them.
I was a Terminator.
You were.
I was.
On the television show,
I was. Yeah.
which
I was killed by an elevator.
friend of the show, Zach Stens, was a writer-producer
Yeah.
on Terminator: The Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Yeah. And I think there might have been exhaustion then.
There might have been, but at least that show was doing interesting and doing different
Yeah.
things with the
Summer
mythos.
Glau.
Summer
She was
Glau.
fantastic.
All things with Summer Glau are great.
Yep.
But yeah, I just think that maybe this is an idea whose time has come and gone. Sad as it might be to say, because I like that world and I like Sarah Connor as a character.
And Arnold was lovely in it.
It is,
An interesting evolution of that idea of that character, and if you take and so many of the themes were about immigration and how something that is fixed in its ways as it's exposed to humanity can change its mind.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a nice, timely take on an idea.
Totally.
Yeah.
Although a lot of watching Arnold made me hungry for Conan the King. I just now want the aged Conan the Barbarian, like the Unforgiven of Conan movies.
Is that up? Because now they're talking Last Action Hero 2.
I mean,
They were. Yeah, I saw that in the trade.
in the trades. I'm all for the one last ride for all of these old action heroes who just like, I'm gonna do all my Rambos and Rocky shit.
Yep.
I'm gonna close out all of my Arnold Schwarzenegger shit.
Yep.
And like Mel Gibson will make another Lethal Weapon, I'm sure, whether we want it or not.
Braveheart. You like that one?
I like
Did
that
you like
one.
that one?
Braveheart.
Because
No,
he was
that
killed at the end, but somehow he's coming, like he stops the blade. And throws it
Yeah.
back.
Like, freedom!
Yeah.
Stitch.
Yeah. Let's go. Yeah.
Yeah, no, all of that shit. So yeah, and I'm all for that. Like as a pure nostalgia hit, give me those things I loved as a kid again. I want to see John Matrix one last time.
Yeah.
Predators.
I'm in.
All right, that is all we have about the shit that we saw.
Yeah.
That means it's time for the news.
Let's do it.
That means it's the time for when I cut and paste shit from the internet and then put them in a document and then read them.
Okay.
Are you ready for this?
You know what? I don't know, and that's what's interesting.
Yeah, you don't know.
I don't know if I'm ready. I may be completely unready for it,
I'm going to break you.
and I will be broken, and
Sweet.
it will be witnessed.
Awesome. Yeah, there's cameras here,
Yep.
right?
You will witness my breaking.
I killed Todd Stashwick with the news.
You're welcome.
News.
Yep. TV will have to find another villain.
News.
Well, that was the news sound.
Yeah, we got a whole news. There's like a news orchestra.
They do. It's like Rocky Horror now. It's very interactive.
I know.
They're going to whip toast
There's like
at us.
5 Bobby McFerrins in the crowd who are like putting together a fucking news theme.
Speaking of Bill Irwin,
Yes.
See what you
Don't
did?
worry, be happy. Hey!
he's in the video.
So they're making another Batman movie, right?
I can't.
Are you interested in the Batman shit?
Yeah, I bleed for Batman. Yeah, I love the Batman.
They're making another one,
I can't wait.
and they're casting.
Yes, they are.
Do you know who they cast today?
Why?
Literally today.
Why no, Mark? I'll pretend like I don't.
Excellent. News.
What?
News. They cast Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell, young. What? Colin Farrell. What?
He's not that young.
He's not that young.
He's like mid-40s, I'm thinking. If
But he
not,
feels young.
well, sure.
I mean,
sure.
yeah.
I'm a fan.
No, his skincare regime is
It's
impeccable.
ridiculous.
He's never in the sun.
No, and he's got great hair,
Anyway, he's playing the Penguin.
which is nice, uncommon. Did not see that coming.
I know. I'm kind of
I would
glad.
I would not have seen that coming.
I prefer it to the Jonah Hill conversation we
Sure.
were having like a month ago, because I don't mind Jonah Hill.
Well, we'll
Hill's
see what that means. That's what I'm
True.
saying. Like, what does the writer director have in mind when they go, he's the best choice for this? It'll be fascinating.
Yeah, I wonder if they got like the Lee Adama fat suit from Battlestar Galactica, and we're like, listen, we're gonna cast a skinny dude, but we're gonna go fat Lee Adama with this shit.
Right?
Yeah,
It's gonna be
like
cool.
fucking like Colin Farrell in a giant Stay Puft
It'll
Marshmallow
be
Man
that will
suit.
be. I mean, it's he's going to like Jake LaMotta and like put on weight for it, or it's just a complete reinvention of the Penguin.
Maybe he just really likes to eat, but he also works out a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he's burning it all off,
He really is. Also with evil. Evil's a thinning agent.
as we saw in the Joker.
Yes, totally. So yes, he is playing the Penguin, and they got an Alfred as well.
Yes,
Andy Serkis.
I'm a fan.
I'm a fan.
I'm a fan.
What? Yes.
So this thing is just dripping with Brits.
it is dripping with Brits, and I also, it's clear that Matt Reeves enjoyed working with Andy Serkis on the Planet of the Apes movies.
Yep.
It was like, you know what, buddy? Now,
Well, he's
show
going to
your
mocap
face.
it and still look like Michael Caine. It's
That'd
all
be
going to be
amazing.
CGI Michael Caine, but Circus he's gonna do it all at the Imaginarium.
Speaking of Michael Caine, slight digression. You know what else I did this weekend? I went to a live reading of a screenplay written by Brian K. Vaughan called Round Table.
Okay.
Are you familiar with the Round Table screenplay?
No.
He wrote it in 2008. It was on the Blacklist back then, a very early Blacklist script.
Uh-huh.
And it's about,
I just can't wait to see how this has to do with Michael Caine. Go
you
on.
will, Morgana Le Fay
Oh.
from the Arthurian legends has returned to modern day London and is attempting
So
to come
it's
back
Camelot
again.
3000.
Camelot 3000. But Merlin now living in Brooklyn because he's that guy.
Because that's where you go, because it's hip.
That's where you go. Is faced with
He's got a
having to-
dog walking business.
He likes to play like World of Warcraft and shit. But so faced with the task of having to round up new knights to do battle with Morgana Le Fay, turns to the Knights of the Realm as they exist today, which are in this screenplay a grocery store magnate, a retired soccer player,
Okay.
a herpetologist.
Is this a comedy?
Yes.
Okay.
Who's done great work with newts.
Okay.
And Sir Michael Caine.
Love it.
It is the funniest
I
fucking
love
thing.
it.
It's awesome. And so the Blacklist had a live reading over the weekend with Tony Hale playing Michael Caine, with Jay Farrow, with Taron Killam playing Merlin, Vanessa Rothschild from Insecure playing Morgana Le Fay. It was phenomenal.
What a treat.
2 hours of joy.
What a treat.
So yeah, you'll never get to hear it or see it anywhere.
They're never going to make it, as you're
They're
saying.
never going to make it.
Damn it.
Although I wish they would, while
I
Michael
know.
Caine is still alive, just so he can play Michael Caine.
Right?
Reminding people that he was in Jaws: The Revenge.
In the film itself.
Yes.
He pulls out a Jaws Revenge reference.
I had a family, damn it.
I had a family, damn it.
Yeah.
So yes. Anyway, it would be great if Andy Serkis was mocapping as Michael Caine.
That's how we got back to that.
That's how we got
Nicely
back to that.
done.
We pulled it
Nicely
right
done.
off the segue back
Uh-huh.
onto the main
Uh-huh.
highway.
But the scenery was beautiful.
Wasn't it though? So nice.
It was.
So yes, Matt Reeves is writing, directing. It is due out, I think, in 2021. They start production.
Oh, they're actually making it.
Oh, they're actually making. No, not Roundtable.
Oh.
I'm saying the Batman.
We're back to Batman.
Back
Yes.
to Batman. I
Sorry.
brought it back. You missed us getting back on the fucking highway.
We're back. We're back. You're right. You're right.
Come on,
I'm
man.
I was looking at the map.
I can't.
I know. We're back. So 2021 is the release.
2021 is the release.
I'm all for all the casting that has come out on that so far, from the Riddler and Commissioner Gordon and Catwoman. Yeah. I'm
no.
all for it.
All for it.
As long as I get to play Hush. That's it. That's all I want.
Just put it
all
out
I
there in the
want.
world, man. Just
That's all I want.
broadcast it.
Apparently, they're going to give it to Tim Robbins, but
Yeah, no, he's all about it. He's all about it. He's gonna start working out.
yes. At Heroes Journey Fitness. See, we're just
He's
going
gonna do a lot of Jacob's ladders.
Yep.
Lots of Jacob's ladders. Come on, Tim, you could do it.
We got to have a Jacob's Ladder workout and do Jacob's Ladders in it.
Yeah. Are you familiar with a podcast / Twitch streaming thing called Critical Role?
Very much. Yes.
Critical Role, if you are not familiar at home, it is a podcast that has been sort of created to document and chronicle the journey of like a dozen voice actors who've been running themselves through a D&D campaign for about like 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 years. Unclear.
They started like in their like living room playing D&D, so it was a natural evolution of and somebody said, it'd be fun. We should just stream this.
Totally. Like, we're all voice actors. We're
and
fun.
guess what? It was fun.
It was fun. It was very popular. They started a Kickstarter about a year and a half ago.
Oh my God.
To do they wanted to make a 30-minute adaptation of one of their baby like campaign episodes. They were asking for $750,000,
Yeah.
which sounds like a king's fucking ransom.
King's
Like,
ransom.
who asks for that on
That's a lot of
Kickstarter?
money.
Like, holy shit! Like, I got bills to pay.
Yeah.
They got $11 million.
$11 million.
$11 million. So rather than just make their one half-an-hour episode lit, they went to Amazon, and Amazon was like, shit, you guys seem popular. We should make like 2 seasons of this show.
Oh.
We'll take your $11 million and add it to our $14 billion.
Yeah.
And we'll make 2 seasons of an animated show.
Okay.
And so that news broke today that Amazon
It kind of
is making.
makes it like it's like you're walking in with your 11 million, and they're like, and Amazon's like, look at them
I know.
with their little bit of money.
Oh.
Look how cute that is.
Yeah,
And Bezos
no.
is just eating a salad of $1,000 bills.
Yeah.
Nom.
It's like, you know what, honey? You keep that $11
Yeah,
million.
you keep it.
No, you should
keep
maybe
it.
Put it in a bank, maybe get some
Yeah.
interest, you
Yeah.
know.
Use them as napkins.
That's fine. You know,
Yeah.
you need kindling. It gets cold in these LA winters.
cold in LA
You don't have good insulation in your house.
Right.
Insulate it with $1,000 bills.
$1,000 bills.
It's totally fine.
Let's do that.
It'll be all good. But yeah, so they're up and running now. Titmouse is the animation house.
Yep.
And if you're not familiar with Titmouse, they also do Venture Brothers.
Yeah.
And yes, that one that you said. Jim Mahfood, yes,
Yes.
is part of the Titmouse
Yes.
family. The other animated thing that made me so excited this week,
Yep.
Spider-Verse 2 got a release date.
Right?
If you don't know, the first Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was my #1 movie of last year.
Kind of great.
It's
My daughter lost her mind. That's her favorite Spider-Man.
trans-fucking-cendent. It's so...
Miles is her favorite Spider-Man. Yeah.
I saw that movie 5 times in the theater.
Yeah.
And I can't remember having done that in like 20 years where I'll put down my fucking money and we'll watch this again and again and again. I didn't see Endgame that much in the theater.
I think I saw that 3 times.
I went 3 times. I went maybe Black Panther I saw like 4 times. But Spider-Verse was, I got to find new people to take with me.
You just keep throwing your money at Marvel. Yep. Love this. Have you guys? This is spectacular.
Do you guys know what the shirt is about? So okay, we're gonna take a detour. Yes, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2 got a release date April 8th, 2022.
Yeah. I did hear. Well, we'll come back. But I did hear that the Japanese Spider-Man might be in Spider-Verse.
I
the
hope
guy that
so.
did, right?
That's amazing.
That would be hysterical.
But yeah, so excited. The one thing I'm less excited about that Peter Ramsey is not, or none of the directors from the original are coming back.
Why?
Well,
I said like Chris Walken for some reason.
why?
Why?
Unclear. They may or may not be producers on it. The guy who's directing this is Joaquim Dos Santos.
Okay.
Who was one of the instrumental directors behind Avatar and Korra. So,
those. Okay, when you say Avatar, I was like,
yes, Avatar: The Last
Pandora
Airbender
and Banshees. No,
yes,
the other Avatar.
Yes, Avatar and The Legend of Korra, and I love those 2 series so much. Everybody on those can do
Filoni.
no wrong. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So yes, I don't think it's not in bad hands, but it's like, oh man, I miss those guys who won an Oscar for making that thing.
But is Lord and Miller
Lord
writing?
and Miller are still producing, but I don't know how much more they're doing than that.
All right.
Yes. So Martin Scorsese and Marvel. He did an interview with Empire Magazine for The Irishman, probably about a month ago, where he said, and has been quoted somewhat out of context, Marvel movies are ruining cinema as we know it. I tried to watch one, couldn't make it all the way through. I don't understand it. It came across very much as like old man shouts at sky for rain coming. He then, just yesterday, wrote an op-ed for the New York Times sort of explaining what that was.
Going further.
And like, yes, that was taken somewhat out of context, but his position is, it is not so much that I don't think these are movies as we know it. I think that the problem is that Marvel movies and franchise pictures are crowding the cinemas to the degree that you can't actually, if you're a young filmmaker, an independent filmmaker, or the kind of filmmakers that Martin Scorsese grew up loving and being sort of contemporized
And
with,
influencing.
could not find a way to get their movies into actual theaters. The movie companies were not making movies like that anymore. So he was lamenting the fact that you couldn't go and discover the new. You were only given more of the same.
Right.
And it's like, okay, no, that's a valid point. That yes, the business has shifted to the degree where most of what we get on the big screen is a very specific kind of thing, which is we know it's going to make money. And a lot of these sort of mid-budget movies, like would have been Goodfellas, like would have been, The Godfather, like would have been anything targeted at adults, has shifted off of the big screen and onto the small screen, and that's what Netflix
or independent.
Or independent, but there's also less movie theaters that are in the business of showing indie movies.
Yes.
And the small art houses have kind of faded away. And so, yes, there was absolutely...
So he's not wrong in saying that it changed the landscape of cinema as we know it.
Right.
Did he say it destroyed it?
He doesn't say it destroyed it.
Okay.
But he says that, like, he felt bad for the young artists today who grew up wanting to make movies and having those movies exhibited the way that movies, in his eye, should be exhibited, which is in the dark on a big screen with 100 people around you.
But the television, in its heyday now.
Yes. Television has taken, some of that, like, we're making grown-up stories, and it's become Breaking Bad. It's become Better Call Saul. It's become Mad Men. It's become all of these amazing shows that sort of no one loved.
Yes.
But he is just lamenting what was for him I can go and see a new Spike Lee movie and be surprised and shocked and amazed by what I get every time.
Yes. And yet we saw Jojo Rabbit last weekend.
Like, there's always kind of going to be space for that.
Yeah.
But that space is shrinking.
They all get nominated for Oscars.
It's the November, December prestige run that every studio will make one or two movies that are destined to run for Oscars.
Yep.
Few will win because there's only one of each thing that they're going to break out, but it becomes like that's part of the business. The campaign is part of what makes those things go.
Yes.
But there's less and less of those. And every now and again, you'll see a movie like that gets released in like March, and it just dies on the vine because nobody wants it because there's a fucking Captain America movie coming.
Yes.
Like earlier this year, there was a film called Fast Color, which I talked about
Yeah.
sort of at length on the podcast, which I loved to death. Loved. It made almost no money in the theater. It got a theatrical run of 1 week in like New York and LA and a couple of theaters in the middle of nowhere, probably Chicago, which is not the middle of nowhere, I understand. My bad. But it was in the theaters for a week, and at the end of that week, Endgame came out. And Endgame swallowed every available screen from sea to shining sea.
Yes.
And so, yeah, like it's harder for the new and
Smaller
the different
films,
to get any purchase in traditional theatrical exhibition. But
Like Surfer Dude.
like surf. Yes.
My magnum opus.
Like yes. So that has been the big sort of Martin Scorsese v Marvel v like old versus young, and to a certain degree it is absolutely his right to be a 75/80 something year old man who doesn't quite get what the kids like, because that's the job of being an old
Yeah.
man and being the kids.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you're not supposed to like what the kids like, and the kids aren't supposed to like what you like.
Well,
It's all good. Everybody can
agreed.
play. But when other sort of filmmakers began to like rally behind him and be like, "This is the end of
Yeah, the
Sherman March, we
pylon
know
is
it."
what was, and then and his op-ed was thoughtful, and it was
Totally.
but the pylon was just ridiculous.
Yeah. So that is the
Unnecessary.
thing. But I will still wear the shirt because I think it's funny.
It's very funny. I
What else
need
would-
more T-shirts. So
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. I can imagine that your wife is like, "No, you don't need more T-shirts. I need more house to contain
It's a sad.
all of these
It's a
fucking
sad
T-shirts."
truth. It's a sad truth. I think at one point I had 55 Star Wars T-shirts, something to that effect.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not proud.
Totally.
I'm not proud.
You're
I'm
not
just.
proud.
I'm a goblin.
Are you a Game of Thrones fan?
I am.
You are?
I did watch all of the Game of Thrones.
Are you excited we're going to get new Game of Thrones? Was that a loaded question?
You know, my TV time is very limited, and so unless I find out, like, there's great TV that I still haven't seen that I want to see that is from years back. That
Columbo
for
is
me
really
to,
good.
so good, so good, and she did write murder.
And killed so
It's
many
so
people.
True. It's so true. Yeah, so there's such great TV that like I'm not caught up on that. So like I got very sated. I'm actually more excited about Witcher
Okay.
because it feels a little more magic-y, a little more D&D. Like I think there was. I mean, Game of Thrones was what it was, and there were moments like I want more magic and more monsters, because I'm just like a nerd boy like that. But I did really enjoy Game of Thrones. I don't know if I will run at a sequel or a prequel unless I hear it's amazing.
Well, we're definitely getting a prequel.
So I'm told.
Not the prequel we thought we were going to get.
Nope.
Because they were shooting a prequel called The Long Night.
Yes.
That they are not shooting anymore.
It was like 24, but
Yeah. It's like, when is Cersei going to take a leak? Who can tell?
where's that drink? Yeah.
Yeah.
I just-
Open a socket, Chloe.
Caught the IG-88 heads.
It's pretty cool, right?
Yeah, it's really cool. Anyway.
Yeah, no, they were shooting one called The Long Night. Apparently, the pilot that they shot wasn't that good. Oh. HBO didn't like it. HBO thought
They didn't like the first
no.
Game of Thrones pilot.
They don't. They seem to have a track record of making shitty Game of Thrones pilots that they can either rescue in some fashion by
Right.
throwing more money and time at it,
Right.
or abandoning it, which is the case with The Long Night.
Wow.
And so they've then shifted their focus from that one, which is supposed to be like the Age of Heroes, like tens of thousands of years ago,
Sure.
and the High Valyrian and all of that
Sure.
stuff, to the House of Dragons, which is about the
Targaryens, yeah.
and it is not quite super early distant. It is more like a couple hundred years before the
Targaryen
events that we
Civil
know,
War.
all ending up to the Targaryen Civil War.
Yeah.
And presumably you would see the birth of baby Daenerys Targaryen.
Oh, it's that recent.
I think it
So it's like just like 23 years before.
I think, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
maybe, sure.
Okay.
I don't know, but there will be dragons. It's called House of Dragons.
Well, I'm saying.
See, you wanted monsters.
Boom.
They're giving you dragons.
But I want like they're wearing suits. There's just so many dragons. They're just like, morning, dragon, morning. Like there's just nothing
Just
but
punching
dragon.
in, like,
yes,
the
exactly.
dragon time
exactly like
cards.
Wile E. Coyote. Like,
Morning, Fred.
Oh, look, another dragon.
Good morning, Chip.
Yeah.
How's the dragoning today? I don't know. The
I don't
goats,
know. I'm
goats
so
are thick
bored
in-
with dragon.
In the West 40, the goats are out there. You can eat them real easy. Fresh meat off the hoof. Did you snort at me?
A little bit. I did.
Oh, you're so...
You're making me happy.
You're lovely. Yeah. So, and George R. R. Martin is being particularly sanguine about it, which is like, yeah, no, it's always a long road, and I'm busy writing a book, you guys. Is that the problem? Can he not type? Yeah, done for the day, you guys. I can't do no more.
Interior.
Yes, Mother, I wrote a word today. I don't know why I decided that his significant other is called Mother, but of course she is.
And as a young man, he's British.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mother,
Mother,
I just wrote a new word today. Dragon. Ooh, very exciting.
you're going to go far, little George.
Next week, more words? More words! Yeah, so he won't have a ton to do with House of Dragons because
Didn't
he's...
have a ton to do with the current one.
No.
By the time they got to the end,
By the time, yes,
they just ran out of books.
he did write like an episode of Game of Thrones at some point.
yeah.
He's like, I don't know if I'll do it this time. but Ryan Condal, who did Colony, among other things on the televisions, is the showrunner, and Miguel Sapochnik, who directed many of the hugest episodes of Game of Thrones.
Oh, cool.
The Battle of the Bastards,
Oh.
the Battle of Winterfell. Like
Anything in battle in the title?
he's the dude that they called and was like, we got to shoot for like 55 days
At
all
night.
at night.
In the cold.
You're our guy, Miguel.
Okay.
Fine. Tell my children I love them. He's also British.
They're all British.
They're all British. Game of Thrones. They're
Yeah. Yeah.
all- speaking of British shit, they're making another Fantastic Beasts movie. Yes? Wait, yes? Hold on. Explain to me why the yes, though. Because, like, no. But, I mean, hey, listen. Different strokes. I mean,
The first one was kind of Pokemon. It
listen.
was kind of Pokemon. Like, gotta catch them all.
If you told me that these movies were like the daring adventures of Gay Dumbledore, fuck yes.
I'm in.
All day.
I'm in.
Like that dude just fucking people in other
I'm in.
countries with magic? Hell yes. Like Jude Law in his most like Bowie, just like
Yes.
swanning through the past with like magic and tweed suits. Like,
with a phoenix on his shoulder.
yeah, and a strutless step.
Yep.
Hey,
I'm in.
sailor.
I'm in.
Fuck yes.
Yeah.
It's not that though.
No.
There's beasts which are fantastic, maybe, occasionally.
And a hero that accidentally wins at the end.
Yeah, because why? Sure, he's got a suitcase full of shit. That always goes
And the
wrong.
platypus succeeds.
Yes. I will say this one is taking place in Rio de Janeiro,
As you do.
as you do, and like I at least like the fact that they're being international with it.
Is Depp coming back?
Don't know.
Oh. You guys haven't talked about it?
Yeah, me and Johnny.
You and John?
That's not what we talk about.
You and Jack?
We talk about men's cologne when we hang out
And guitars.
and guitars and like
And wristwear.
should we form a rock band, Johnny?
Yep.
He'd
He's
be like,
very good. Yes, let's.
let's do it. Can you play anything? No.
No.
Me neither. Let's go.
do it.
Brown Sauvage. I write when I'm not on a show. I often write in food courts, because I like to be around people when I'm writing. I like the constant buzz of chatter.
Sure.
I like the people watching.
Life.
Life around you and amongst you.
Yes.
In the mall that I write in.
Inspiring.
There's a giant fucking banner of Johnny Depp Sauvage. Every time I walk in,
It's inspiring. It's your totem of power.
it really is. No, I like touch it like I'm a Notre
You
Dame football
have
player
to,
as
yes.
I walk in. Just like, yeah, Sauvage.
It's like the Blarney Stone.
And then once these, I'm assuming they were kids because kids do this shit, changed the V in Sauvage to an S. So it's just sausage. And it made me so happy.
Right?
Just like wordplay graffiti.
Yes.
Like vandalism with wit.
I'm in.
And sausage. So yeah, I don't know if he will be in the Fantastic Beasts 3.
All right.
I'm just hoping for more fucking like Jude Law, gay Dumbledore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's so much fun.
That's the show that I'd like to see.
You know?
Or the movie. Yeah.
Dear Warner Brothers, you're going to spend $150 million on this.
Yes.
It's going to be what it is.
Right.
Just make it, come on.
Right?
Come on. It's fucking Newt Scamander? No.
I reserve comment.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Just in case they want to cast you.
Yes.
Yes,
in the
please.
Tim Robbins role. And we're out.
Excellent. That is all the news we have today, my friend.
Wow.
What? We did it!
We got through.
Oh, Todd's first news segment.
I know.
We did it.
I did okay.
You know what that means?
What?
That means we go on to Q&A.
Q&A.
What?
Pure
And
cane
we have-
sugar. Ooh, there's a spotlight.
There's a spotlight. We have a litany of giveaways
We
today.
got giveaways.
We have the most recent poster from Nate Gonzalez, who
Right.
does all these, signed by Todd and myself.
I think we need to do this film.
Yes, where
Right?
you play Nancy Allen and I play Peter
I will
Weller.
be Nancy Allen to your RoboCop, to your Peter Weller.
Yes.
Right? That's
we
great.
got some 40X tickets. Have you seen a film in the 40X before?
Is that where the seats move?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
That is where
It'll
yeah,
wet your pants for you,
if you're lucky.
right?
Because if not, it'll do other
like
things to
seeing
your
like
pants.
Hereditary, and you're like, I'm gonna pee myself.
Yeah. No, it's pretty awesome. It is, as I like to call it, going outside for people who don't like to be outside.
Oh, is it that good?
It's that good. It's
Oh,
like
wow.
'cause I remember seeing Rogue One in 40X, and like when you're in the very beginning when the bad guy is walking across these marshy plains.
Krennic.
That guy. And like wind is blowing in the theater, and the seats are like gently moving. And then it starts to
What?
rain, like it rains a little bit in the theater.
What?
It's pretty fucking badass. It becomes like super atmospheric, and it's like you're
Go
in the
Stardust.
movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
You can smell Mads Mikkelsen's breath.
Yes. It smells like tacos.
Oddly. I love very much tacos.
Very much
but
tacos.
made with human meat.
Yes. And so, yes, Brett Deacon and the good folks over at 40X offer us these lovely tickets to give
What?
away. There's one in downtown LA. There's one probably in a city near you if you live in a major city.
Love it.
You should go.
Love it.
And, holiday movie season is coming up.
It
I'm
is.
sure they're going to have some fucking big
I'll see a
badass
40X.
stuff. You should do that.
I'll see a Star War in
We have a
40X.
giant fucking Batman book.
Whoa!
Look at that. It's almost too heavy to lift given that I've been to the gym. But Inside Editions in DC put together this Batman 80th anniversary giant fucking hardcover
It's a
jam.
beauty. It's a beauty.
It's a beauty. You can use this for research or home defense.
yes. Boom.
Right?
Boom.
Yeah. So 3 of them.
I'm gonna help out here.
Please. Yeah, you look like you're in shape.
Yeah.
And then a gift bag from the Ripley's Believe It or Not people. See,
What?
woo!
It's a person who can push their eyes out of their head. It's
Yeah,
in
no,
that
literally.
bag.
There's a person in the bag, believe it
Yeah.
or not.
It's the tiniest person.
It is.
Tom Thumb.
So there we have it, boys and girls. The only restrictions is you have to ask a question that both Todd and I can answer.
Yes.
And, don't ask for hugs because we'll give them for free.
Oh.
Aw.
that.
But yes, JC
about that.
is walking around. He's got a mic. Hey, camper.
Hello,
man.
gentlemen. How are you?
Good. What's your name?
Filled with
My
joy.
name is Rockwell Knuckles.
What?
Rockwell Knuckles.
That's
Hot
like
name.
your birth name?
Right?
He just shrugged.
It works, right?
Eh,
Sure.
Maybe.
First off, I want to say Thank you for allowing me to stand up here. Shout out to everybody here because everybody's awesome. I want to say I loved you in The Riches.
Well, thanks.
You were great in 12 Monkeys. But
you.
honestly, my favorite role you played was the Cowardly Lion in Tom and Jerry's The Wizard of Oz.
You just IMDb'd me.
Spine tingling, my friend. Spine tingling.
That was so fun.
I'm just saying. Anyway, my question is something simple, and I'm being a little selfish, but it will include you also, Todd.
I don't care.
I mentioned earlier when I bumped into you that Genius is one of my favorite comic books. I think it's fantastic. I think it's a very well-written comic.
Thank you, sir.
I remember one time on another episode you mentioned that you would not compromise on the storyline on a certain level because they'd be like, oh, could it be a private security team? And you were like, no, this needs to be the story that it's telling. You know, Alexander the Great of this day and age, and it's a black girl named Destiny. Incredible. My question to you, sir, is two questions. Who would you cast in the main cast of Genius if it was a television show? And I'm talking about big budget, HBO, AMC, whoever, Netflix. And what role would Todd play?
Okay. All right.
I wasn't gonna leave you out, Todd.
We're not gonna leave Todd out. In the conversations that we'd had about the book, it was always clear in my mind that we would cast around the main character. So, like, you know, we would cast Todd Stashwick as Lieutenant Gray. We would cast like Queen Latifah as Siobhan. We would cast the big roles, like Giancarlo Esposito can be that guy, and like just put all of our names in the supporting cast, and then find somebody, break a star, do a giant fucking casting search, and find me the perfect Destiny. There was a heartbeat where we were like, you know, Amanda Sternberg might be really interesting in this because she's like mad talented and crazy smart, and like I believe that she could pull that off if given the opportunity. But I still like the idea of doing a thing that movies don't do that much anymore, which is find me somebody I've never seen before and make that part of the story. You know, just like, who is that girl we've never met before? Who is that young woman from a place we've never been before who just has the look and has the intensity and has everything we need it to be? And make a star. Hollywood used to do that all the fucking time, like the ingenue system. Like, who's that? Who's that? Who's that? You know, like you watch
Christopher Reeve, too.
Christopher Reeve. Peter O'Toole's first fucking movie is Lawrence of Arabia. You know, like some casting agent found that guy just wandering through bars in London and was like, the drunk one. Get me that guy.
And everybody stood up.
Yeah, like, no.
The drunk, no, not that one. No, not that one. Not that one.
You know,
no, not that one.
The pretty
Not that
one with the blue eyes.
Would you prefer it to be a film or a TV series?
When we first thought it up, it was going to be a movie. Because at that time in my life, everything was movies, and it felt like that was the best Destiny would be a movie. Pardon the pun. But I think that today, the longer we've lived with that story, the longer we've actually told that story, the more I think it's probably TV. And the more that I think you can dig into it. I remember Joss Whedon saying something like, I love movies, but only in TV can you have like the Russian novel experience, which is you're going to tell this 1,000-page story that just goes and it gets richer and you're introducing characters and you're digging deep. You can't go deep with very much of anything in a movie because you got 2 hours. That's it. You're skittering on the surface. But in TV, you can just drop anchor and just excavate character in a way you can't in a movie. So yeah, I think it's a movie. I think it's let's find somebody lovely and wonderful and enshrine somebody new, and then put a bunch of fucking Oscar nominees and Todd in the supporting cast.
I'm all about you, Todd.
Cool.
Thank you.
No, thank you, man. Come and get your shit and maybe a friend to help you carry it. I know. See, I told you, man. There's a lot.
What was your ticket?
Yeah, because you got to take a friend. Rockwell, good to meet you.
Nice meeting you. Thanks, Todd.
Hey, man, what's your name?
John Martin.
That was my best Kevin Smith impersonation. Hey, man, what's your name? Hey, John, what can we do you for?
So, knowing a writer who is very close, I wanted to ask.
That's me.
Sorry.
You. He's
Wanted to ask.
Played D&D with him when I was a kid.
What is your favorite project that didn't get off the ground for whatever reason? Either it was, didn't get as far as you wanted it to get, didn't get approval, didn't get whatever. The not necessarily something you have yet to make.
The loved and lost moment.
It's probably not something you want to talk about. But
the loved and lost
right,
moment.
something you worked hard, you put your blood, sweat, and tears into, but it never saw the public domain.
Yeah. Well, I'll take I had the good fortune of spending 3 years working on a Star Wars video game that I was co-writing, and then EA pulled the plug on it. No, it was the one with Amy Hennig, who created Uncharted. So I was co-writing that project, and so it definitely is a loved and lost situation where I was invited on board to help shape the story and write, and I got to live the Nerd Boy dream. I got to go to Skywalker Ranch, and I got to go through the archives, and I worked in step with the Lucasfilm story team, and I was really proud of the work. And then, as these things do, for whatever reasons they do them, that it just didn't move forward. It just they pulled the plug on the game, and so that one broke my heart pretty hard, because if I picked one franchise that is the closest to my heart, it would be Star Wars, and to be invited into that side of the velvet rope, if you will, to be able to at some point add to the canon of this franchise that I love so much. That one, that was the biggest heartbreak. There are others, but that's the one that springs to mind immediately.
I have two. One was mine and one was somebody else's that I put quite a bit of time into. And I talked about the first one on the podcast at one point before, but Kevin and I at one point, early on when we were still doing commentary tracks for Gotham, which didn't last very long, because Gotham. Sorry.
It's, you know what? I was happy to be in Gotham City.
Hey.
Like, that was, no, truly. I mean, just to side, like, there was a moment where we were shooting in the Bronx, and it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was in a building, but like going, nope, I'm in Gotham City. Like, according to Warner Brothers in DC, the building I'm standing in is Gotham City, and it felt amazing.
My checks are cut from Wayne National Bank.
Yes, I'll take it. But anyway.
But we had spun out this idea on the podcast of telling the story of Alfred having to care for this broken young boy. Like, Alfred, it was supposed to be like this 4-part story chronicling Alfred's interactions with Bruce Wayne, starting with the day that the Waynes die. Like, Crime Alley, like, Alfred gets the fucking call, your benefactors are dead, and there's a 10-year-old boy in an alley, and how Alfred starts to deal with that kid, right? And then you flash forward a little bit, and Bruce Wayne, still young, still broken, and the fact that Alfred built a wall around this child because he's not a parent. He doesn't know how fucking parenting works. So he's like, I want to protect him, and my protecting of him is I'm not going to send him back to school. I'm going to get tutors. I'm not going to force him to go to therapy. I just want him to be safe, and I'm going to protect him the only way I know how. I'm a soldier. You put him behind a fucking fence, and you shoot at everybody who wants to come close. He doesn't let the kid heal, so he heals wrong. He heals broken. And then the third chapter was Alfred alone in Wayne Manor when Bruce is off in his, like, I'm going to learn Kung Fu and find shit phase.
His vision quest.
His his Jesus' lost days, where he goes to figure out how to fucking do Kung Fu and shit. And then the last chapter was the Alfred reckoning with the monster that he created every night. Like, Bruce Wayne goes out, comes back broken, Alfred has to stitch him up and send him back out to the war. Yeah. And that feeling, that acknowledgement that I did this.
I contributed, yeah.
I made this thing. Like, I took this boy that I loved, and through, like, care and feeding, but I did the best that I could, but I didn't know how to do it right. And the result of that is this man who tortures himself every night, who breaks bones every night, who I have to patch up and reckon with my guilt about this every night. And so we're like, no, that's fucking awesome. We should do that as a comic book. And we're like, yeah, let's fucking do it as a comic book. So we pitch it to DC, and they're like, we don't know if people care that much about Alfred.
You know who cares?
Like, huh? What?
You know who cares about Alfred? Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis. And this was literally like 3 or 4 weeks before they announced the Pennyworth TV show. And I'm like, well, maybe you should tell Epix because they're about to spend like $75 million making a TV show all about Alfred.
Yeah.
But they're like, yeah, just marketing isn't sure that they can get it done. And then we said, all right, hey, it's your IP. It's your, like, okay, cool. This is your toy. You don't want us to play with it?
Right.
That's fine.
Right. Well, that's that's often the heartbreak when you're playing in other people's IPs. Is that you're invited to a party that isn't yours.
No.
It's not your party.
Yeah, like any minute they can turn the fucking lights on and say,
Yep.
everybody go home.
Yeah, and
Not my
that
party.
and I was working on I spent some time co-writing a version of Suicide Squad 2, and then the business does what it does, and now James Gunn is doing it. I'm looking forward to seeing his version, but it's like anytime you're playing in someone else's IP, it is so much larger than you are that it's not like your idea that you crafted that you can go, okay, well, you don't want it. Well, then I'm going to go bring it over here. Because people asked us about both of those projects. They asked me, it's like, well, can't you take it anywhere else? I'm like absolutely not, because it's not mine. It's not mine to take. And so, especially when you're investing in developing a pitch for something, it is such a time commitment to flesh that out and to walk into the world of these producers and go, here's what you might want to do with your thing.
Yeah, and it's hard because you can't file the serial numbers off. Like that's sort of a way of saying just take out the things that make it Batman and just tell that story. And it's like it only really works if it's Alfred. Like it only really
you need
works
those touchstones
with the weight of that world. Otherwise, I then have to tell you what Batman is.
Because we know where it goes. That's also the tragedy of it.
Right. Like it only works as the tragedy of Alfred, I think is what we were going to call it.
That was good.
If you know what happens. And you only know what happens if you understand.
Could you pitch that as a limited book to DC? Well, you just did.
Which hey. So yeah, that was the one that somebody else had owned. And then there was a pilot that I wrote like, I don't know, 4 years ago called Omega. And the idea was, the pitch was Bond with a wand. It was melding together like spies, like James fucking Bond, and magic. And what if there were spies who only used magic, never used fucking guns, because what's the point if you can do magic, right? And so there's MI Omega, like MI5, MI6, whatever. MI Omega is the Directorate of the British Intelligence that defends against magical threats, right? And so there's a bunch of fucking spies who are just like James Bond. There's only a handful of them because it's magic and it's rare. But they go off and they defend the realm against magic threats.
I want to see this.
As do I. And there was a company that was like, we want to see it too. And so I did a couple of rewrites for them, and I went up and down the chain, and I pitched everybody until the dude who has to sign off on it. He was like, we love it. But we're just not sure. Like it's... And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, it is what it is. There's things that it can be. There's things that I'm happy to help try and nudge to a place where you think you can say yes. But there's things it can't be. And it's going to be expensive. And you're going to cast Brits. And you're going to be shooting internationally. Because if you're not doing James Bond with magic, then it's not that thing. Like, you can't do this for the CW. I like the CW. Lots of CW shit is fun. But it can't be Chuck. It was like, I'm a globe-trotting spy who's only ever kind of indoors. Like, we can build this set in Morocco on the Warner Brothers lot because we're never going to take him anywhere. So it had scale, and it needed to be that. Like, at some point, we're going to fight a Chinese dragon because, of course, we are. Like, that was the other thing. Like, there are whole pockets of the world that have, like, magical history, and so there's the gulags of Russia that have awful shit. There was the Chinese dragon that runs the underworld. There's it was just... It still is awesome. Yeah. It's not going to be that thing now. It may never be that thing, but that's the job, right?
But like, the joy is you do own it.
It's
so
mine.
You can dust that off anytime you want, and when tastes are moving in directions, and you can go with it.
Totally,
it's great.
Like it still belongs to me. I never sold it to anybody. I would have liked to because money's awesome, but I didn't.
I can't take Star Wars anywhere else.
No,
that's just
it's hard.
That's just the truth. Somebody still owns it, I think.
Yeah, but yeah, and the job is you pour your heart into a thing, and you spend a year, give or take, making it the best you can, and then you put it out into the world. And if somebody wants to adopt it, then awesome. And if they don't, all right, well, I made a thing, and I have to find a way to take some solace and some comfort in that, and take it as far as you can. Like, I never feel bad about something not going if I've done everything I can do to get it there, right? Like, I've called every person I can call. I pitched every person I can pitch. I got in the room where it happens, and it didn't happen.
And there's, and Joss Whedon once said something awesome, which was, he said, my favorite part of making movies is when I'm writing it because it's perfect. It's exactly the right cast. You're on time, you're on budget, because his imagination is alive and in that. And so the act of writing the pitch and coming up with the story is the joy, is a great way to spend a life.
Totally.
Whether it goes forward from that point forward, going back to my initial thing, it's like I wouldn't have traded those 3 years for anything. They were amazing, and that process alone was immeasurable.
Yeah, everything you write is more wood for the fire of getting you better.
Yes.
Right? So, like, even if it doesn't sell, even if it doesn't get you a job, you are a better writer for having written than you would have been if
And
you
it's a
didn't
joy
write at all.
to the act of creating it is fun in and of itself. It's mental surgery. It's mental surgery, but I mean it's
Yes.
what we want to do anyway.
I am a huge fan of having written more than I am of actually writing.
Well, that's isn't that Dorothy Parker?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I love the downhill of like Act 5. And like, we're almost done, and we're done, and victory fucking laps. And then you're like, God damn it, it's a blank cursor again. And let's start climbing the mountain. Let's get up to base camp. Let's go to work again. And that's hard.
One does not simply walk.
No, one limps screaming into Mordor.
Well, as a consumer of these ideas that you guys have, thank you so much for the entertainment that you provide. We love hearing
John?
the stories.
Thank you. Come get your giant pile of goodies. Again, if you need a friend to help carry, there are tickets under there somewhere, so be careful. See, there they go.
Dude, what? You're gonna drop your tickets?
How you guys doing?
We can squeeze him in anyway. Hey, man, what's your name?
Mike.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
Nice to meet you. I just wanted to ask, if you guys had to do the next DC Black Label, what villain would you choose and how would you tackle that villain?
You go first.
Villain? Well, he's more of an anti-hero. I have an idea for a Swamp Thing one-off that I want to do, but I don't want to say it out loud. But it's I adore my DC passions. I love Gotham City, period. So I love the characters and the villains in Gotham City. I love. Well, Black Label isn't just villains. It's also Last God is a Black
I'm
Label.
talking for the movies because remember Joker's Black Label, like the one with Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh, that's what they're calling it?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know
That's
these
another
things.
nickname.
Oh, what villain?
Yeah, what would you do for the next movie? Like what standalone?
Oh,
You have to do a standalone Batman villain movie.
Yeah.
well, Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze. Like I think it has yet to be done with the poetic empathy, the way it was done in the animated series. It's like Mr. Freeze, hands down, and I think it could be a plum role for an actor. I think you can really go a million interesting, grounded, human, tragic places with that character, and it's still a lot of fun. So, Mr. Freeze.
Even though he is going to be in the Batman, I think there's something really interesting about Penguin. I think, especially given that the great Batman villains are all funhouse mirror versions of Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Right? They're all refracting and reflecting a piece of his personality and warping it out of control. And so Penguin is the child of privilege who doesn't quite understand the reality of the world around him. As does Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne comes from vast fucking fortune and still doesn't quite understand that punching crime in the face is not the most effective way of policing a city. And so to look at Penguin as that, to look at Penguin as like, what if Donald Trump was evil?
What do you mean? What if?
It's what? I mean, what?
I can see it.
Hypothetically speaking.
But they both got the wobble,
Listen,
so.
I can't. Apparently, I can't just not step in that. But the idea that unchecked privilege can warp somebody's morality, and what happens to a technically good person who goes that bad. Yeah, I think Oswald Cobblepot
Yeah.
is. There's a fascinating way to talk about the world we live in today, when you're talking about income disparity, when you're talking about the 1%, when you're talking about all that stuff, and then you add Batman to that, and you add Gotham City to that, and you add that depth and level of crime to that. I think there's a lot of juice there.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Sure, man. Come and get your giant pile of shit.
Come and get your
Can we do one more
We
Batman
can do
question?
one more. Oh, hey, it's Brian.
But do we have toys?
Well, we have tickets we can
We
give
have
Brian.
tickets we can give.
I have a question.
Brian's got a question. Hey, Brian, how are you?
Hey, Mark.
I know Brian, which is why I knew
Brian.
his name before I asked him. Hey, man, what's your name? Brian. Hey, Brian.
Mark, on an earlier episode, you introduced Todd as someone who's going to be co-hosting and said that he knew more about Batman than most anyone else that you knew.
Oh no, don't.
Yes.
No.
Well, I only have a question as a comic book fan, really, for both of you. This isn't a test.
Okay.
We know the Alan Moores, we know the Frank Millers, we know the Jeff Loebs. I'm curious, from the both of you, what is your favorite story that no one talks about?
Well. That's a good one.
If only there was an
but
80-year
but I guess
book
to say
there.
no one talks about, I spend most of my time with nerds. Drea's trying to guide me into saying a thing.
This is Pictionary with Drea.
Oh
White.
yeah. But people talk about White Knight. White Knight is fantastic. Have you read White Knight?
No.
Oh.
Then I'll
okay.
accept
Oh,
it.
shit.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. No, White Knight is fantastic. It's Sean Murphy who writes and draws it, and the Joker gets rehabbed, and he finds a way to turn Gotham on Batman, and Batman is kind of hunted, and
He's kind of right.
He's not wrong. It's really good. So that's terrific. I also love Court of Owls, but people know about that because it was in Gotham. But The White Knight is a tremendous book. There was a Riddler book years ago, I want to say early 2000s, maybe late 90s. There was like a series of Riddler books. I forget who wrote them, but they were called Riddler, oddly enough. But yeah, White Knight. If you haven't read White Knight, run. It's collected in trade by now.
You know what Batman
Ego is
story
good too.
Nobody talks
Never read
about?
Ego.
The tragedy of Alfred. You know why they don't?
What? Yes.
Well done.
There is also I can't remember. It was an episode of Batman the Animated Series. I think it was called like The Mechanic.
Yeah.
About like the dude who fixes Batman's car. You know, the Batmobile.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Do you know the Batmobile? That's what he calls the car.
What's it called?
The Batmobile.
I got to do my research.
Only a child would name it that.
Yes.
I love stories about Batman that don't involve Batman sometimes because I love the orbit of that character, the gravitational mass that he has in both the DC universe and in Gotham City itself. That his world is bigger than he thinks it is, and there are people in that world that are ripe for being either exploited or leveraged or damaged to force Batman to do different weird shit.
There's a great Batman story in Planetary.
Oh yeah, that's so good.
And what's awesome about it is the Planetary team, they run through all these eras of Batman. So at one point they're in the Frank Miller world. At one point they're in the Adam West world. Adam West world. There's robots that talk like this. Old chum. And it's pretty special. It's a pretty
Really, like,
special.
to see John Cassaday, who did the art for that.
Yes.
Warren Ellis wrote it. John Cassaday did the
I
art.
love
and to
those
see him
books.
channel all of the various interpretations. It's like, why are his ears so fucking pointy?
It's hysterical. It's
so
hysterical. Yeah, I'm currently reading Batman and the Max. They did
Oh, wow.
They did a
The Sam
crossover of a Sam Keith Batman and the Max.
That's fun.
Yeah.
I hope
cool.
that came close to answering your question.
It came all the way and then some to answer my question.
Oh,
Thank
good.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Would you like some tickets to the 40X?
40X.
See, you don't get to.
He's like, I wanted that book.
Yeah, we got no more books. I think that's it for Q&A, which means I think that's it for this episode.
What?
Of Black Man
It flew
Beyond.
by.
It flew by.
Flew by.
Did you guys have fun tonight? I could not have done this without the gentleman sitting to my right, Todd Stashwick.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
asking me to come.
Thank you for coming to the Black Cave to come and play with me tonight.
Yes. They're big shoes to fill. I hope I did his absence justice.
You
so
have
thanks for
acquitted
having me.
yourself well.
Okay, good.
But that is it for this episode of Black Man Beyond. Stay tuned 2 weeks because the lovely and talented Tricia Helfer will be standing where Todd Stashwick is right now. So yeah,
Her spine glows.
hers. You know, I haven't seen it. We're not that close.
You wouldn't have even if you were that close, because it's anyway.
Listen, man, I don't. Maybe you're just doing it wrong.
But it's facing away.
I know.
Okay.
Anyway, thank you for coming. Stay tuned. Same black time, same black channel, smodcast.com or youtube.com/Kevin Smith. Good night, everybody. Thank you.